5, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Just fire the damn thing. Oops.
If ultra-portable analog PCM hybrid drum machine sounds good to you, look no further than... well, actually do look a little further, yes. Here we are. Sorry, Volca Beats. This is the IK Multimedia's Uno drum, and yes, it's pretty obvious where this idea originated from. Well, while the Volca Beats is a very popular drum machine that is often criticized for a number of things, chief among these being the wimpy snare, the Uno drum is also a very, I'm not exactly sure if it's popular, but it sure is criticized for a number of things too. None of these things are the snare though, because it's pretty neat. The Uno drum was released alongside the Uno synth that I featured in my last video, go watch it next, in 2018, and while the concept does sound pretty similar to that of the Volca Beats, IK included a number of standout features that clearly make the Uno drum the better of both. Before I explain this in a bit more detail, let's actually have a look at the unit itself. With Unisynth, it shares the exact same basic case design and some more elements that are also found on the Unisynth. There's also a matrix-style control section on the top left, and some basic controls like record, play or volume on the top right. Instead of the Unisynth's keyboard, you get large pads for the drum pads, but the bottom row again features the same 16-step pads as the Unisynth. All the buttons present on the Unidrum are again realized through a single segmented capacitive surface, so there is zero haptic feedback. More of a déjà vu can be had at the back that is identical to the Unisynths. So you also get 3.5mm audio in and out jacks, 2.5mm MIDI in and out sockets that require the same MIDI adapter cables, as well as the same micro USB power socket and power switch. While I guess that we are all fine with a single out for a monosynth, no individual outs for a 12-voice drum machine is a bit of a downside. There isn't even a way to use panning to at least have two channels because the audio out is indeed mono. As mentioned earlier, the Unidrum is an analog PCM hybrid drum machine, so it has some true analog drum sounds as well as a number of very 12-bit sounding samples. Let's start out with the analog sounds. These are found in the bottom row. There are two kicks, with the first one smelling of 909 and the second one being a 8080 affair. There's a nice snare, as well as closed and open hi-hats, and a rather pleasing clap. All of these, as well as the PCM samples, share the same basic controls like level, tune, decay. Some of the controls like snap or sweep time are only available for the analog sounds. I've prepared a little analog only demo part, so you can have a listen. Also, I will play around with the controls a bit while I'm playing. Apart from the analog sounds, there are also a number of samples on board for toms, rim, cowbell, ride, and crash cymbal. And if you're fed up with the analog sounds, there are also samples as replacements for the individual analog parts. Sadly though, the samples are fixed to the individual parts, so you cannot have, let's say, 12 tuned tom sounds playing or analog and sample claps at the same time. In the second example, I went full PCM, so enjoy some lo-fi sample goodness. As you might have already noticed, one of the major advantages of the Unidrum over the Volca Beats is that you can have very long 64-step patterns, and you can even save a whooping 80 parts and 80 drum kits. Speaking of which, let's play that demo again, this time cycling through some of the drum kits on the fly. The Unidrum has a number of built-in effects too. There's a real analog compressor that also affects the sound input through the aux in, as well as an overdrive-like effect. Apart from the audio effects, there are a number of real-time sequencing effects like muting, swing, division, humanization, velocity shutter, and roll. Again, let's have a play to show you what does what. And now for our grand finale, let's start one of these Voltron sequences to combine the powers of drum and synth to form a techno mecha zord.
Go Voltron Force!
All of the features mentioned in this video make for a pretty neat little drum machine, but there's still more. Through their drum ontology libraries, IK offers free sample packs for those lucky enough to have the serial numbers to the machines at hand. Yes, you can change the samples, and yes, this is only possible when you register the machine with a serial number that is on the registration card, the card that will most probably have long gone missing when you buy a used machine. While I can understand why IK is trying to limit access to some of its features to single users, yes, they are a software company first and foremost, and that is how these make money nowadays, I really don't get why they didn't turn changing samples into a fully fledged feature from the very beginning. The good news here is, however, that some smart hackers went ahead to reverse engineer how IK uploads their ontology samples, and while it isn't exactly easy to do, there's now a way to upload your own samples to the drum. I'll leave you a link in the description, but please be warned that this is a bit hacky and could kill your drum. Furthermore, the drum also has the same great DAW integration through the companion app that also functions as a librarian and VST plugin. You don't even need to register your machine to get these apps, just asking the very supportive customer support for the software worked fine for me. The very best thing though I saved for last. The Unidrum can usually be found for about €100 second hand at the moment, which certainly makes it a very attractive package. So, if you think about getting a Volca Beats, forget about that and get a Unidrum instead. Anyways, that's all for today again, so see you soon with another synth.